So in this video, we're going to look at the smart money room trading system and all of the relevant indicators that we use to make our trading decisions. We're not going to look at the Razzmatazz indicators because we don't use that directly in our trading. They're just mostly nice to know. But I do cover them in detail in some of my other live videos. So you can take a look at that if you want to find more information about it. So looking at the trading system that we have, the indicator that we probably look at the most and our most sensitive indicator is the micro 1 indicator. So micro 1 is derived off of the Nile 1M indicator. Nile 1M is nothing but the new highs on the NYSE index over the last 1 month minus the new lows on the NYSE index over the last 1 month. So right now you can see that the value is minus 75, but it's very early in the day. So we take the end of day value. So yesterday's value is 321, and this value actually goes into our spreadsheet over here. Yesterday's value 321. So I've got all of the Nile 1M values plotted against time, and we calculate a cumulative value, and we take the EMA of that, and we plot all of that against time. And this is what we use to get the Nile 1M core indicator, which is shown over here on a chart. So we've got the cumulative value of Nile 1M plotted against its EMA, EMA 19, and it's really simple. When we get the blue go over the red, we have a buy signal, and when that reverse happens, we get a sell signal. So we were on a buy since November of last year, and it very recently went to a sell. It is still on a sell, but it's quite close. It can easily go back to a buy again if we get some strength going forward. Okay, so this is the Nile 1M core indicator, and the micro 1 and the micro 2, which is what we use in our trading decisions, are derived off of this Nile 1M core indicator. So the micro 1 is nothing but the delta change, day-to-day change of the EMA of these values that we just looked at. So it's just basically the delta change, and if it's ticking higher, we stay on a buy with the micro 1. When it starts ticking lower, it goes to a sell. Right, for example, right, it went to a buy on at around 4,300 for 100 points, or 5 days it stayed on a buy, right? And then it went to a sell. 1 day sell, whipsawed, it came back to a buy, and then it's been on a buy since then, right? So that's how the micro 1 works. It's based on the delta day-to-day change of the Nile 1M's cumulative EMEA. Okay, so that's micro 1. Then we go to the micro 2. Micro 2 is we don't have a graphical representation of that, but it is very similar to the Nile 1M core, but it's just on a much lower time frame. And we have got some price rules also built into that to make it a little bit more robust. And micro 2, its time frame could be lasting for a few weeks. Micro 1 is usually a few days to maybe 1 week, and the Nile 1M core can last for several months. Okay, so these are the different indicators that we derive using the Nile 1M internal measure. Okay, so that is the micro 1 and micro 2. So if we go to the representation of all of these indicators, I put them out in a sheet like this and post them every day. So they basically show you the status of all the different indicators. For example, micro 1, micro 2, which we looked at right now. The third indicator is the secret indicator combo, and that we have over here, which is nothing but a price-based, momentum-based indicator, which uses price and a few other internals to derive what we call as a trend in the market, right? And if you've got the red dots and the black dots both ticking higher, we say that the trend is up. If you've got both of them ticking lower, we call the trend as down. So right now they're both ticking up, so trend is up as per the secret indicator, and we show that over here. And I give a buy trigger and a sell trigger also. So if it gets below 43.71 today, closing value, it goes to a sell, right? And similarly for micro 1 also, we've got the values over here, minus 62. If it gets below minus 62 today at end of day, it will go to a sell. Okay, so the fourth indicator is the odds indicator. This is on sell right now. What for our trading perspective, odds is probably the most important indicator, and it is on sell right now. We're just waiting for support from some other indicators in order to actually short the market, right? So these four indicators are what I use to determine what our trade type should be, right? And a little bit more detail on odds. It's actually a fractal based system. It uses history, past history, and patterns of the market to make a decision on what might happen in the future. For example, when odds goes to a buy, it means that the probability of continuing lower has greatly diminished, and we have a much better chance of going higher. So that's when odd goes to a buy. When odds goes to a sell, the reverse is true. Most of the upside, the high probability upside portion of the run is done, and that's why we go to a sell signal, right? So the combination of these four are used to determine the trade type. Right now we are in what we call as a C-class long, and similarly we have got A class and B class also. So if we I have put together this guide, and I link it in my post also. It will also be put up in the about page, so you can go through this. It shows the different trade types. We've got A class longs, B class can be long or short, and we've got C class longs. So they're divided up based on the risk that we take on the trade. So the most important thing in trading is your risk. It's not analysis, it's not direction, it's nothing like that. It's just risk, because that's what trading is all about. You got to start with your risk, and then determine what your size is and take your bet, right? And over the long run, if you manage your risk, that's all you need to be a successful trader, right? So the risk on A class longs is 4.5%. It is represented as a 150% position in our trading tables. The win rate is close to 98%. That's why we take a much higher risk on the trades. This is the highest quality trade that we have in the room. Okay, and then we've got the lowest end is a C class long, which we are in right now. The risk is taken is 1.5% on the account. It will be shown as a half position in the tables. And in between both of these, we've got the B class longs and shorts. B class longs are rare. Usually it will be a B class short. Risk is taken as 3% on the account. Right, so risk is the most important thing in trading. You got to manage that. I have that explained over here. How do you calculate the risk? What you start at how much you can lose, and you work your way up from there, and that's how you arrive at position size. All of this is explained here in detail. You can go over that, and below that in the guide you've got the backtest breakup summarized, and you've also got that in detail in a spreadsheet over here. I would highly recommend that you go through that, go through the trades. It's all there in detail. The drawdown, the entry, everything is there. So go through that, study it. It is what is going to give you confidence to follow the system without fail. It's often difficult to take a trade when it triggers, because it's not going to be gelling with the what the current thought is out there. It's usually going to be against the grain. So when you take the trade, it's going to be difficult because there's going to be so much of opinions against it. But if you go through the trade list, go through it and study it closely, you will have the confidence to just execute whenever the trade comes out, right? And if you need to start smaller when you are starting out, just do that. Build your equity, build your confidence. It will be much more easier, right? So these are go through the guide. It'll help a lot. Okay, so that is what we have over there. so that this column shows the trade type. And then we've got one more column for the long-term portfolio, which is long also right now. So we have a little bit of evolution going over here in the exact rules, but right now I've fixed on just going long whenever the A class long triggers and going flat whenever the B class short triggers. So that's what we have right now. I may tweak that a little bit in the future, but it should not really create that much of a difference in what we do. Okay, so in the trade tables, we track only the C class, A class, and B class. The LT portfolio is just for information, and for those who have restrictions in their trading accounts, like the 401ks, for that you follow the LT portfolio. Okay, so that's what we have over there. And in this particular sheet, I just have a system snapshot, and you got all the day-to-day changes of all the indicators. This also I post daily in the room. Okay, and it shows you when A class went long, and then A class went into a C class state over here, and we are currently holding that C class long, right? And then next probably it will be going to a B class short very soon, right? And so for the LT portfolio, you see that A class went long here. So the LT portfolio also went long on July 19th, and it's still holding that long, even though the trading class went to C, right? So that's how that works. Now, quick look at the room. You've got all of these different sections over here. If you're new, I would suggest just keeping an eye, focusing on the trading signals, because you've got the entry, the exit, the stop, everything in detail over here. Even the size is suggested. So it's probably the simplest if you're new to just follow the trade signals, ignore everything else, and then you can build upon the rest with time as you need more, develop more, and maybe bring in your own flair to your trades. You can start looking at other things. So we have got a lot of other indicators tracked over here. The micro indicators are tracked, which we just looked at. The core indicators is odds, the secret indicator combo, the Nile 1M core. Then we've got USO and GDX, HL, which is also, it's quite similar to what we track with Nile 1M on the stock side, right? And gold odds is also similar to the stock odds that we track, okay? So these are all the core indicators, and then we've got the long-term indicator, which is Nile. Nile is the new highs and lows over the last 1 year. Nile 1M is that over the last 1 month. So Nile is a much longer term indicator. It's been on a buy since May of last year, up 45%. So if you have really long term money that you can't make any changes at all with, this is what you use for trading that, or positioning your accounts based on this particular indicator. Okay, so those are all the indicators. I post the daily report and the position summary every day. So that's about it. I again go through the guide, go through the back test. It's what is actually going to give you the confidence to take the trades. Okay, so that's all I wanted to cover in this video. And if you really want to go into depth with the other indicators, check out some of my live videos, and I'll also be doing them periodically whenever I get a chance. Right. That's it. Thanks.